Alright, today got this oil leak under the carry, and we're going to fix this. I'll get it all jacked up and I'll show you how we're going to fix it. Alright, I've got this other socket set here, but not lose that little washer. Move that stuff out of the way. Maybe it's a 5/16, just in case I hit it. Oh no, I'll be able to get it. My hand's nowhere near it. Alright, now I've undone it. Let's carefully take it out. This one here, all we've got to do is make sure we put the washer on like this. The washer looks a bit loose too, so let's take this one out. Sit them on the ground. I don't like that washer. I don't like that washer at all. Look here, it doesn't even want to sit straight. Maybe when it gets done up it will. Now this wasn't done up very tight, so the factory one's got a different, the factory one socket fits 5/16, or 15/16 I should say. The 15/16's this one, and this tried one doesn't quite fit on the socket properly. What we need to do is tighten this up. Carefully put the socket over it. That should be heaps, because it's got it's a crush washer. You don't want to go overdoing them. What I'll do is I'll clean it all up. The oily hands off it. Our next step is we're going to clean this plug out because it's dripping with oil. So what we need to do is just to get that plug just like that. Right. Clip our wire back on like that, and it's just similar to electrical spray cleaner what I just put on that. So what we need to do now is, where's it? I've got a can of degreaser here. So I'm going to take this back off. We need to degrease all this. And we want to degrease the back of the motor where that oil is dripping all down there. And what I'll do is, after I've washed it and I'll set it back down, I'll start the car up and I'll check it. Take this out. move that back. Oil and shit off it. The sensor on. Swapped it. This is the original one. That was leaking oil through the back of the light. Let's get the wheel on. If you I'll show you the way I've got the wheel off. Show you another thing too. Is if you want to look at your brake pads to see how much they're worn. I've got nothing here to bloody point at. But these brake pads here are only half worn. If you look at them on the disc, so they've got plenty of meat. You can see them on here better. If you look at it where I just touched it and put that tiny little mark. But it always pays to check your brake pads out when you got the wheel off. I always check other stuff too with it. Let's get this wheel back on. That black stuff what you see on here, that's actually brake dust on the rim from the brake pads. It just collects over time. I will say one thing though, if you are working on you know, your brakes at home and stuff, especially rear brake drums, just be careful with the dust out of the rear. They've got asbestos in them, in them rear brake shoes. So if you're doing older vehicles, like, you know, from the 70s and 80s and 90s, they say up until about 1997 or something they stopped putting asbestos in them. But if you're buying these parts from overseas and that, they're probably still using it, so just be very cautious about that. Always tighten your wheel nuts up, all of them first before you sit the car down, because that way, if the wheel's not sitting on there properly, it will, before you let it down, it'll make sure it's all even. Alright, now I'll take the jacket out of it. More tighten these wheel nuts back up. If you ever take these hubcaps off, don't go prizing them off with a screwdriver or anything. Use a plastic tool. This piece here, what you see on the hand, that goes where the valve is. See, when you turn it around, you can see it. See the valve piece where my finger is. Here, so when you put it on, you've got to put that around the valve first. Whoops. This is how bad the oil leak was. Oh, that's a bit cool and green there from the top of the radio hose. But yeah, we're starting to leak quite a bit of oil. This is where the main leak was, and it was running underneath that what do you call it, lower control, and it was dripping back onto here. And yeah, always check whenever I'm driving the car. I'll if you go to a car park somewhere, always make sure when you reverse out and that, always check the ground and that for any leaks and that, because that's how you can find a leak before it's serious. And it's a Holden Astra, the car. And that sensor what we just replaced is down at the back of the motor there. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, share, comment, and have a great day. And the tools what I used is just sockets. I did have a ring spanner what I was going to put on it to undo it. What size is that? 1/2 inch W. I'm not sure what size that is. I think, but it's a 24mm, or what was it, a 5/16 socket. That's what it was. And yeah, I just used that Makita impact driver just to help me undo the wheel nuts, if anyone's interested in that model. And yeah, it's handy for, you know, so you don't have to crack it by your hand and strain yourself. And just make sure you got the car chocked up. I use 2 jacks, because if I put a jack stand on it, it's a bit inconvenient with it. But yeah, just 2 jacks, and that's it. And that was the sensor. It was leaking. That's the original one, original General Motors. And this is the part number for it, what I just replaced. It's called a, whoops, now I'm throwing it there. It's a Trident oil pressure light. That's what it is. And yeah, if you don't actually check the oil in your car, and you keep driving it, you seize your motor. So this oil was leaking like 200 mils of oil, 250 mils of oil out of it in 100 kilometres. So I mean, if you'd done 500 kilometres in the car, you'd seize the motor before you even knew what was going on, because you wouldn't be relying on the oil light to tell you the car's going to stop. So yeah, it just pays to make sure you check the oil and water and keep an eye on things all the time. Otherwise you'll be putting another engine in it for nothing. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed.